The first thing I wanted to do is introduce our missions team. I figured that would be the easiest thing because I'm going to keep referring to them. Mike Matika is up front here. Karen Carenti with the hand thing is right in the middle there. Hank Albright is in the back with the sunglasses, and Tim Sprick is also in the back. And then there's two others, Jenny Ayat, she's a deaconess, and Demarise Wessel. I wanted you to know who they are because hopefully you know one of them. And if you ever have any questions, I encourage you to go to them and ask them. Here at Springton Lake, we believe that every follower of Jesus Christ has been called to be an ambassador for him. And it starts right with the people you know and the relationships that you have, whether it's at home or your extended family, school, work, and your neighborhood. And that's obviously what all of our preaching and teaching encourages each one of us to be Christ's ambassador where we are. But we also believe that we're called to be as an ambassador extending to people that we don't know. And that might be people that you run into shopping or traveling on a plane or a train, people you work with in a summer project or a service project. And then we also believe that the Lord has called us to be ambassadors to build his church globally, to all nations. And so Springton Lake's missions program seeks to be involved in all of these areas. And you all have received a missions prayer booklet. This booklet lists all the organizations and specific missionaries whom we have relationships with. So as a church, we believe our first responsibility is to bring the good news to our communities and our region. And so you'll see local organizations where the gospel is central to their ministry and service that we support. You'll see Child Evangelism Fellowship of Delaware County. They're actively involved in our Camp Treasure Island. And they seek to bring the gospel into public elementary schools. You see Focus there. They do the same thing at private high schools. Amnion Pregnancy Center, they seek to serve people who have unexpected pregnancies and making decisions around that, and then also caring for them and counseling them, and also going into schools to encourage and teach abstinence. And then you see Young Lives, which is a branch of Young Life Ministry, and they specifically minister to teen moms to help mentor them through raising their children while they're still in school, trying to finish school, and what that all looks like, and helping them through that process. And then City Teen Chester, which ministers to disadvantaged people in the Chester City area. And each of these organizations ministers in our community and offers opportunities for Springton Lake members and groups to connect and to volunteer. And that's key to the organizations that we support. You also see Philadelphia-based missionaries in there, like Byung Lee with Mission to Chinese Seamen, and Anis Zaka, who's a pastor in Philadelphia with Church Without Walls, and the Abbots with Crew. But we also know that God intends for us to be involved in kingdom building throughout the world. So we also support missionaries serving in other countries. We see these missionaries as an extension of our Springton Lake ministry and as a means for us to be personally connected with the global church. So we support missionaries in Asia and Africa, Middle East, and Europe. And as a church, at least 1/10 of our budget each year goes to missions. But our goal as a church is for our involvement with missionaries to be much more than just financial. Our desire is to go deep with each missionary by becoming personally involved with them, which could mean someone visiting them on the field, sending a team to serve on a short-term missions trip with them, inviting them into your home when they're here in the States, and other ways to get to know them better and help them from here now. Now that practically all of us are familiar with Zoom, whether we like it or not, it is definitely a tool that we can use, and we don't have to wait for our missionaries to come to the States before we can spend time with them and get to know them. So one of the missions team's responsibilities is to keep in regular communication with our missionaries and then pass on that information to you all. You'll start to see in our weekly emails a missions spotlight section. and we'll bring you to your attention current prayer requests and opportunities to serve. So for example, if you all read this week's, does anyone know what this week's was? No. So Karen does. Pomoza is in there for the Miles for Malawi. It's a fundraising project that they are doing in June. It's a virtual run walk. So if you have no idea what that means, read the description. And so there's an opportunity for you to participate, and there's an opportunity for you to donate. We strongly encourage each Springton Lake member and family and community group and Bible study to consider adopting one of our missionaries. Start by praying through this prayer booklet for each missionary and see who the Lord puts on your heart as someone that you want to know more about. And then talk to one of our missions team members, and we can give you more detailed information about them. And then you can connect with them and sign up for their newsletters and emails so you can be regularly updated and you can know how to pray for them. We encourage you to schedule a time for a Zoom call with them. Community groups, it's a great way for the missionary to get to know your community groups, to meet them, and then for you to hear about their mission and know how to pray for them as a group. And then obviously you can write cards or letters or emails. We have so many different ways nowadays to communicate in real time and over time with our missionaries, and we should be taking advantage of that. And we want to be intentionally raising missions-minded people, which is why we start teaching our children about missionaries in Sunday school and in Camp Treasure Island. And then we want to help our youth serve on summer service projects like Bethany did at Camp Sankanak, or some of our youth have done being counselors at Ligonier Camp, or even Abby Chung has served at Joni and Friends. And then there's also opportunities for short-term missions trips that we want to make available to our youth, whether it's with their families or with the youth group, which is one thing that Jake will be doing as he comes on board, and then even church missions trips. So while I mentioned church missions trips, I think some of you know that we were planning a church-wide missions trip to Malawi for this summer, which we postponed until next summer. And we have decided to postpone it until 2023, the summer of 23, because we want to make sure we have flights. We're hoping, for example, South African Air comes back to business. But also we want to be sure that we're clear of COVID so that we can be there and not be constrained on what we can do. So you can expect to hear from us in January of this coming January, because we try to start planning, have people sign up, fundraising about a year and a half in advance. Another goal of our missions team is to help our church raise up and send people to serve long-term in missions. Rachel Abbott, Danielle Larson, and Michelle Kim were all youth here at Springton Lake that we support. And the LeDukes and the DeHarts were members here. But it's been many years since Springton Lake has sent out someone to the mission field. So one of the things the missions team recently started is a missionary in training program for high school and college students and for any adult who's considering missions and ministry as a potential career. We and other church leaders come alongside the person to mentor them in what they can be doing now to start preparing for missions and to help them discern the Lord's calling. We do things like help them identify ways that they can be serving in the church and in the community, what classes to take and what to major in, what vocation to pursue, and how to best spend their summers. So summer missions internships, like Bethany did, are important steps in the development and preparation process. And to encourage that, we provide scholarships for missionaries in training, so that if the internship doesn't pay enough for the summer time that they serve, we supplement that with a scholarship. Bethany Hogan is our first missionary in training and hopefully not our last. So if any of you have any interest of any age in missions, please come and talk to any of us on the missions team or any of the pastors. Thanks.